Okay, in this last video we're going to be looking at some government solutions to asymmetric information. So how does the government get involved to reduce the incidence of market failure related to asymmetric information? So the first one is related to government regulation and consumer law. So Australian consumer law makes it illegal for firms to engage in conduct that misleads or deceives consumers or other businesses. So in terms of what's covered in that, there's unfair contract terms, consumer rights, including warranties when you buy new products, safety of purchased products, and rules for door-to-door selling and direct marketing. So what we mean by that, if you're like selling, say, electricity door-to-door, it's often the case that you're not allowed to sell them to certain people, so you may not be able to sell to, say someone that's, say, 95 years old and not of their full mental capacity, or anyone that's not of full mental capacity. You can't sort of cheat them into another deal. If you can clearly notice that that person is not of the level of intelligence that they need to be really in charge of decision-making. So if there is a major problem with the product or service, the consumer has the right for a refund or a replacement. They can also get compensation for the drop in value from what they paid for the price to what is actually the quality of the product. So that's covered under consumer law. And the idea of this is to boost living standards and achieve a more efficient allocation of resources. So you can't have all businesses, it's illegal for them to mislead or deceive consumers. I can't have unfair consumer contracts. You get a warranty on new products generally. You have a right to have safe products, and you can't sell things door-to-door, certain things door-to-door and to certain people door-to-door. So there are also labelling laws that come into government regulations. So packaged processed food must list the ingredients in descending order, which means the main ingredients have to come first. They must provide nutritional information, so finding out about the level of protein, carbohydrates, fat, sodium, etc. So any packaged food needs to come with those labels. This also prevents those from allergies eating the wrong food. Some foods are also required to show the ingredients. So for example, if you label almond milk, you must state that it's only 2% almonds, so it's not misleading you into thinking that you're getting something that you're not. Same with fruit drink. If it's only like 5% oranges, then they need to state that. The idea of this is to, one thing, to increase the consumption of good with positive externalities, so people are aware of the things that are good for them. And that can have benefits for their health and therefore flow-on effect benefits for other people. But it's also to make sure there's no misleading or deceptive conduct and we have more information about the products that we're buying. The ACCC, there's a broad provision of the Australian consumer law that prohibits misleading or deceptive conduct. So the ACCC make it illegal to deliberately mislead or deceive you. It makes no difference whether the business intended to mislead or deceive you or if just their conduct actually had that effect on your decision making. So it may not have been deliberate, it may just have been the effect that it misled you. If the overall impression of the advertisement, promotion, quotation or statement made by a business is misleading, it gives you an impression, the consumers a misleading impression in their mind about the price or the quality of the product, then it's likely to breach the law. So it's illegal to mislead people, even whether it's deliberate or it just happens to be accidentally. In the health insurance market, I'm not going to go through this. This isn't all that relevant, so we won't talk about that for now. Or the second one. There's also insurance. When you're in service industries, it's important that every doctor, lawyer, teacher is certified and pays a yearly fee, so there's less chance that people that are fraudulent. So, for example, at school in here, for us, we need to have a working with children check. We also have a VIT where we have to pay a membership every year, and then we hand that into Jan Kuzmicki in the office to show that we have essentially got all the qualifications that we need to ensure that no one's working in a GROB that doesn't have their VIT. Government advertising is really important for reducing asymmetric information as well. So the consumers are made aware of the private and external benefits associated with merit goods and are made aware about more of the information about demerit goods that can harm society in some way. So this lack of information is solved by advertising, essentially giving you more information about the products that we're buying so that we're buying things that are of better quality and not going to have negative externalities. So that might include ads that highlight the benefits associated with eating fresh fruit and vegetables, negative ad campaigns covering smoking, drinking, eating fatty foods, that kind of thing. Subsidies, the government can give subsidies to firms who provide meaningful information to consumers. So there's often been grants given for documentaries. So you may remember the documentary Super Size Me. That was all about the dangers of eating McDonald's and eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch and tea. That was subsidised by the government to give consumers more information about the dangers of just eating McDonald's. So the subsidy helps to reduce the costs for producers and therefore helps to allocate more resources into documentaries that are going to give more information about products, so there's less asymmetric information. And then finally, there's laws relating to warranties, defective products, and product disclosure. So all goods come with an inherent warranty that the products are not just defective, and they're entitled to a refund if the product is deemed to be defective. So the Victorian government is also planning to introduce lemon laws, which basically force car manufacturers to replace persistently defective vehicles. So all cars come with a rule that they need to be of acceptable quality and fit for purpose, otherwise consumers are entitled to a refund. Contract laws, that can include, for example, the Howard government trying to promote individual contracts and trying to remove unfair dismissal laws, with the idea that people will work harder and there'll be less principal and agent problems if it's easier to sack people that are not working in the best interest of the company. There's also exclusion clauses for insurance companies, so to stop moral hazard. For example, if you're drink driving, you can't claim. If you're speeding over a certain limit, above the speed limit, then you can't make a claim for insurance either. So there's exclusion clauses which prevent businesses from having to pay out when people are acting in a risky fashion. Thank you.